Now, Agent Moy believes that there is still several hundred victims and is encouraging them to come forward to the FBI. Also, if you do have any information on Pratt's whereabouts, you are asked to call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, that reward to $100,000. Reporting live from downtown, Clara Benitez, Fox 5 News.
All right, Clara, such a disturbing case.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Emmanuel. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We got an update here I want to bring to you guys. But before we get started, shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. All right, guys. So Michael James Pratt has been placed on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. Adult film producer accused of trafficking underage girls and adult women into these sex acts in which he filmed them and put them online. Now, Michael James Pratt is 39, okay? The FBI says that he recruited these young women and minors to commit these sex acts by force, fraud, and coercion. Now, authorities said from 2012 to 2019, Pratt and his co-conspirators recruited these young women and minors from the United States and Canada. They used fake clothing model ads, which turned out to be pornographic productions. Pratt is also accused of paying other young women working at his and his co-conspirators' direction to act as references and provided false assurances to the women that if they filmed a pornographic video, that video would not be posted online. However, that was just not the case, right? Some of these women would not be allowed to leave until they participated in these shoots. Others were forced to perform actions that they declined to do for the video, and other women were sexually assaulted. It is suspected that there again are hundreds of victims. Now, Pratt actually not only has connections to New Zealand, but he is a New Zealand native, okay? He made more than $17 million through his websites. This warrant for his arrest was actually issued back in 2019. And it wasn't until this past Wednesday when the FBI named him as one of their most wanted fugitives. He's 6 feet tall, weighs about 200 pounds. He has a New Zealand accent. He also has ties to Australia, and he has enough money to travel the world. He used deceit, lies, and vindictiveness to torture the young women he caught in his snare. This is according to a detective. And they believe that he will continue to look for more victims and more people, even for his own financial gain. The detective even said, quote, "We feel that there are people out there who have been helping Michael Pratt to hide. He has probably promised them the world, giving them money, buying them gifts in return for providing him a safe haven," end quote. Now, several of his alleged accomplices have been arrested. Not only arrested, but also convicted for their roles in this vast conspiracy. The cameraman, okay, he had a cameraman. He had a bookkeeper even. And the cameraman and bookkeeper for these websites even pled guilty to trafficking charges back in 2021. Now, there was one man named Ruben Garcia. He was a lead recruiter and producer. He was actually sentenced to 20 years in prison for human trafficking. The website's co-owner, Matthew Isaac Wolf, pled guilty to commit sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. He will be sentenced next month. Michael Pratt, he's still on the run with enough money to travel the world. Pratt is also, he's wanted for conspiracy to commit sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, production of child pornography, sex trafficking of a minor and by force, fraud and coercion, sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, and criminal forfeiture. Now, the FBI asked that if anybody knows his location or has any tips, you can call 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can go to tips.fbi.gov. And, in times like this, I always like to look at the actual page that the FBI put up. So put I've seen them do photos, photos of even fingerprints, stuff like that, basically. But hold on just a sec. Let me pull it up. Let's take a look at the current FBI top 10 most wanted list. Did y'all know there was also a woman on the top 10 most wanted list? Brian! Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to see you, Brian. I hope you're okay, doing well. Let's see here. Let me pull this banner down. So, FBI.gov, this is the top 10 most wanted fugitive list. The FBI, they use the U.S. Marshals also to do a lot of their operations, I guess you could call it. But this is the current list. And there you go, Michael James Pratt. Matter of fact, hold on, let me take a look at something. Top 10 most wanted. Okay, notice the official FBI 10 most wanted fugitive list is maintained on the FBI website. The information may be copied and distributed. However, any unauthorized alteration of any portion of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives poster is a violation of federal law. Okay, well, let's go take a look at Michael James Pratt's entry into the top 10 most wanted. See if they have any additional info here. So he was born on November 10th, 1982. They say they have him at 209 pounds. And again, y'all, they said that he ran this operation from 2012 to 2019, right? The FBI on their top 10 most wanted list, for those of you guys that only hear me and can't actually, see the video, I'll read out what the FBI on their website says. They say that from approximately 2012 to 2019, Michael James Pratt and others allegedly participated in a conspiracy to recruit young adults and minor women to engage in commercial sex acts by force, fraud, and coercion. Pratt and co-conspirator Pratt and his co-conspirator owned and operated a pornography production company and online pornography websites. These sites were called Girls Do Porn and Girls Do Toys. Pratt and his co-conspirators allegedly recruited these young women from around the United States and Canada by posting false internet advertisements for clothed modeling jobs. Think about that for a second, then think about the Wayfair scandal. Remember when people were selling furniture for ungodly amounts, and then it was discovered that the furniture was there in place of actual human trafficking victims, okay? They do these false posts about, if you see a post, for something and it's an absorbent amount of money online, you may have just ran into something, okay? A dresser doesn't cost $20,000. And some of the Wayfair posts were just ridiculous, right? But Pratt also allegedly paid other young women working at his and his co-conspirators' direction to act as references and provide false assurances to the women that if they filmed a pornographic video, the video would not be posted online, which I don't... of course it'll be posted online. That's going to be the first thing people are going to do. And again, the FBI even says some women were allegedly not permitted to leave the shooting locations until the videos were completed. Others forced to perform sex acts that they had previously declined to perform. And again, some women that were sexually assaulted. They said that, again, that Pratt's pornography websites generated more than $17 million US dollars in revenue. So that is courtesy the FBI. And they provide their, information in PDF style. But that's a photo. Michael James Pratt, New Zealander. Again, remember he has a New Zealand accent as well. It's kind of a little Australia-ish, a little bit. Anyway, shout out to those of you on the Crime and Investigations channel. We're out of here. Until next time.